Ugly motherfucker.
12 grotesque and freakish predator variants beyond movies. Predators have been haunting humans and thrilling audiences for more than 3 decades now. Since their first introduction in the 1987 cinematic Marvel starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, predators have found their way into comics, novels, short stories, and more. These apex hunters can only be compared with the equally terrifying Xenomorphs. In 2004, the two horrifying creatures met in the film Alien vs. Predator. As many of you know, Xenomorphs are a different species of monster that often seek world domination. Predators, or Yautjas on the other hand, are powerful creatures who hunt for sport and sometimes for other reasons. They are psychologically more advanced and have often teamed up with humans against the aliens. However, before we begin, it's important to note a few things about the Yautja ranking system and the code of honor of the Yautja Society. The Yautja Society is divided into many ranks depending upon an individual's hunting skills and achievements. A young Yautja starts as an unblooded, and after he takes the basic hunting training, he transforms into a young blooded Yautja. Once a young blood kills a xenomorph and marks themselves with the xenomorph blood, they become a blooded Yautja. This ritual initiates a Yautja into adulthood. From here on, the Yautja can become an elite, an elder, or a leader. These 3 designations are regarded very highly and respected by all Yautjas. However, if a Yautja breaks the honor code by killing an unarmed or unworthy victim, he is considered rogue and a disgrace to the Yautja Society. Such defectors are called bad blood predators. In this video, we have brought you some of the meanest predators in existence, all of whom have never made an appearance in film. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Mutated Yautja. Mutated Yautja made his debut in a comic called Alien vs. Predator: Fire and Stone, published by Dark Horse Comics in October 2014. The comic is set in 2219 and several light years away from Earth on a mysterious moon called LV-223. It is also the place where the human-built spacecraft Prometheus now rests, housing a horde of deadly xenomorphs. A group of mercenaries travels there with a synthetic man who is infected by a genetic accelerant, leading to a horrific transformation through which the man becomes Eldon. The mutation causes Eldon to grow into a vaguely humanoid beast with immense power and grotesque features such as jaws coming out of his abdomen. Furthermore, he can infect others. Let us know in the comments if you wish to know more about Eldon in another video. Anyways, a group of Yautja hunters soon come to LV-223 to hunt, and Eldon overpowers them. He bites the last one with his jaws, and the Yautja becomes infected with the genetic accelerant called chemical AO15. The Yautja now mutates into a hulking monster that hardly looks anything like his own kind. He grows 10 mandibles instead of 4 and develops black eyes. Moreover, he can now break through the skulls of other Yautjas with his own, and he gains so much power that he could rip off the arms of his kind. He even grew an extra arm from his left shoulder. The mutation transformed his psyche as well, and he developed cannibalistic tendencies as revealed in one of the sequences in which he eats the corpse of a Yautja he has killed. Interestingly, the mutated Yautja has a biohelmet with a jawbone like the berserker predator, and his unusually tall height gives him the resemblance of an upgrade predator. The mutated Yautja was once blooded and respected by his people, but turned rogue and excessively violent towards everyone, including his former kind. Bad blood predator. Predators can be a lot of things. They can be mean, merciless, and menacing, but even the meanest of predators feel disgraced when a member of their society breaks the Yautja code of honor.
Come on!
A predator turns into a bad blood predator when he kills undeserving and unarmed innocent victims who pose no real threat. One such rogue Yautja wreaked havoc in New Jersey and killed more than 50 people. As is the law, the Yautja Society sent an enforcer predator to Earth, whose job was to put an end to his carnage. He was introduced in a comic book short story published by Dark Horse Comics. The bad blood predator didn't just kill innocent humans, but also massacred his own kind. Unlike other predators, he kept the whole severed heads of his victims instead of just the skulls, in an effort to make himself look even more grotesque and evil. Furthermore, his armor plates and knee braces were made out of the skeletal remains of his victims. He demonstrated immense skill and power when he killed the Enforcer Predator and will forever remain a disgrace to the Yautjas. The Djinn. The locals of a small village in eastern Afghanistan believed that a Djinn was saving them from the wrath of the Taliban. He would massacre the soldiers and save the lives of these locals. The Djinn was in fact a lone Yautja who had set up his base of operations in the foothills of the Hindu Kush mountains. However, the Djinn was inadvertently acting as the savior of locals, and he would massacre anyone who came before him, including US personnel. When the news of these deaths flew to a hunter named Jaya Somes, she gathered her team and came to capture the Yautja, hoping to access the technology he had brought along. The government also sent a US Black Ops team to kill him, but the Yautja easily overpowered them. Nevertheless, a local boy named Atal helped Jaya and a US soldier, Tyler Swain, to track the Djinn. Dark Horse Comics introduced the Djinn in May 2017 in a 5-issue comic titled Predator Hunters. He is a hulking predator with a peculiar style of hunting and killing. His biomask makes his eyes glow bright white. His deadly spear is decorated with human skulls but operates using advanced technology. His hands have mechanical attachments from which 2 sharp blades extend. These blades can pierce through a range of materials, but the Djinn loves to slice human heads with them. Djinn is most certainly an elite Yautja who has successfully killed a Xenomorph queen in the past and now carries out his own missions at will. We know this because the spear he carries is only given to the more experienced Yautja community members like the elites, elders, and leaders. The Djinn proved to be more than a match for everyone who stood before him and was eliminated only when Swain sacrificed his life to lure the creature into a minefield. A 4-armed predator. In the 2010 film Predators, we learned about a game-preserved planet where humans are dropped and forced to survive the Yautjas who hunt them down. These planets are specially designed and sometimes terraformed by the super predators to serve the purpose of hunting.
What took you so long?
Dark Horse Comics introduced the 4-armed predator in July 2010 in a one-shot comic titled Predators Surviving Life. The comic was set a few months after the events of the film and was also dubbed as the official sequel of the film. 4-armed predator was dropped into the game Preserved Planet and was tasked with hunting the remaining survivors. The case of his mutation remains unknown, and it is though that his extra limbs were the result of a natural mutation or a rare genetic disorder. No matter what the cause, the result was terrifyingly beautiful. The 4-armed predator is mightier and stronger than other Yautjas. Like other predators, his weapons of choice are the gauntlet knives attached to his arms. These retractable wrist blades may seem simplistic, but their efficiency makes them deadly. The wrist gauntlets can also blast plasma beams at the creature's opponents. The 4-armed beast's body armor seems to be more resilient than most, and just like other experienced Yautjas, this predator uses his impressive cloaking device to render him invisible to his prey. Dachande, or Broken Tusk. Dachande was a Yautja leader who would lead unblooded Yautjas to hunts so that they could finish their blooding rituals. He was also called the Broken Tusk Warrior because he lost a part of his tusks in an unarmed fight with a Xenomorph. Among the Yautja society, he was a framed warrior and hunter who could single-handedly take down several Xenomorphs at a time. Furthermore, Dachande upheld the Yautja code of honor and considered that killing an unworthy prey was the greatest crime and treachery. Something that is unforgivable. His fighting skills were not limited to taking down Xenomorphs. He also showed off his immense strength and fighting skill when battling other Yautjas. Dachande knew how to measure his steps and time his strikes and blows. Dachande was a Yautja leader and would escort groups of unblooded predators to a barely habitable planet called Ryushi. The planet had 2 suns, which made the climate extremely hot and arid. It was also the place where Dachande had claimed his first Xenomorph. However, unbeknownst to him, there was a ranching colony of humans on Ryushi called Prosperity Wells. When his mothership dropped Xenomorph eggs to seed the planet for their hunting, the Xenomorphs started to massacre the habitants of Prosperity Wells. It became imperative for Dachande to take responsibility for this grave action, and he sided with the humans to fight against the Xenomorphs. Here he displayed his strong moral values and character traits. The Broken Tusk Warrior used traditional weaponry like body armor, a biohelmet, a plasma caster, and gauntlet knives, but he was also equipped with a plasma firearm and a separable combi stick. Ahab. Ahab rose in the Yautja ranks and eventually became an elder. Prior to this, he was a skilled and experienced hunter who traveled to different worlds, killing and collecting many trophies. In his long and relentless quests, he ended up with many scars on his face. However, after becoming an elder, he became obsessed with finding the race of engineers. To track them, he befriended a human named Galgo. Although Ahab could have killed Galgo whenever he pleased, the two of them seemed to share a bond of friendship and helped each other. Unlike other predators, Ahab has a sense of humor as well. He is seen laughing when Galgo argues with a synthetic named Eldon. Like the mutated Yautja, Ahab's adventure also takes place on LV-223. Ahab was inspired by a character from Herman Melville's 1851 novel, Moby Dick. In the novel, Captain Ahab becomes obsessed with finding a whale. The similarities between the two are clear, in their obsession and in their shared facial scarring. The higher a Yautja rises in ranks, the more advanced weapons he gets to use. Apart from using the traditional Yautja weapons, Ahab also carries a smart disc which can cut and slice through objects, a grappling hook, net gun, spear gun, a deadly glaive or combi stick, and gauntlet cuffs that bind him with other individuals with the help of a wrist gauntlet. Marvelous Videos highly recommends reading the Alien vs. Predator Fire and Stone comic series to understand this character fully. Big Mama. Big Mama is one of the few known female Yautjas, but she is in no way lesser than any of her male counterparts. She has immensely advanced combat skills and uses the traditional Yautja weapons and armor. Strangely, Big Mama doesn't display any pronounced female physiological traits like breasts, and rather looks like a male. However, she has an innate motherly instinct and feels protective over a genetically engineered trophy wife named Karen Delacroix. She teaches Karen combat skills and other things just as she would teach any other unblooded Yautja. Big Mama was introduced in Aliens vs. Predator Deadliest of the Species, in which she teamed up with a very unusual accomplice. In the comic, we see Big Mama fight side by side with a Queen Mother Xenomorph to defeat the white hybrids. Such an affiliation between the two hostile races is rare and thrilling. However, it is possible that she is an elite predator and has therefore killed several Xenomorphs in her lifetime. Cracked Tusk Predator. The Cracked Tusk Predator was an elderly predator who enforced harsh conditions on the unblooded Yautjas he trained. He would find Xenomorph hives and attack them with the help of his tribe. In one such mission on planet LV-797, he came across the Juggernaut, which was the spacecraft used by the engineers. Thrilled by the discovery, he decided to guard the spacecraft and kill any intruder. He wished to take control of the Juggernaut and search for advanced technology. However, he was met by a party of Marines who had similar interests. In the time that Cracked Tusk spent on LV-797, he indulged in several battles just like this one with humans, and had emerged victorious. But there, his own foolishness led to his death. Cracked Tusk had pinned down a Marine against a sarcophagus and attempted to finish him with a strike from his wrist blades. However, the Marine managed to dodge the attack and Cracked Tusk's wrist blades got stuck, rendering the predator immobile. Later, the Marine killed him with a pulse rifle. Despite this, Cracked Tusk remains one of the deadliest and most cunning of the Yautjas ever to have graced the comics. If you are a fan, you could own one of his figurines made by Kenner or NECA for their respective Predator toy lines. Hornhead. Hornhead was a part of Cracked Tusk's clan, which chanced upon the Juggernaut spacecraft on LV-797. He was the strongest warrior of the Tartarus clan and was feared by men and beasts alike. He gets his name from his rigid biohelmet and looks ferocious in his maroon skin. Hornhead was a typical bully, egoistic and proud. Moreover, he did not hesitate to commit dishonorable deeds if he feared a defeat from an opponent. In the comic series Alien vs. Predator Life and Death, we see Hornhead face off against Ahab on LV-223. Ahab had sided with the Marines in the quest of finding the engineer weapons, and as a result, he was temporarily cast out from the tribe and had to win in combat in order to regain acceptance. As Ahab and Cracked Tusk confronted each other, the latter called upon Hornhead to battle Ahab. The two of them fought valiantly until Ahab started to overpower and outsmart Hornhead. At this point, a losing Hornhead dishonored himself using his wrist blades to try and kill Ahab. But the elder Yautja knew better and was able to strike first. Hornhead became the poster boy of several Predator comics because of his unique skin color and horn biohelmet. He made his way into the covers of 3 issues of Predator Life and Death, despite the fact that he actually only appeared in one of them. Devil. Predators are one of the most frightening creatures ever introduced in films and comics. What's scarier than a predator? A predator who has lost its mind. Arnold plays Dutch Schaefer's character in the 1987 film Predator. In the comics Predator, Concrete Jungle and Dark River, we're introduced to his brother John Schaefer, who encounters a predator in New York. The two get into a brief battle in New York, but Schaefer escapes with just a few injuries. Sometime later, he goes to the Central American jungles, where his now missing brother Dutch had encountered and killed another predator. Here, Schaefer learns that the predator from New York was wreaking havoc and killing anyone he came across and had earned the moniker of Devil. Devil had turned into a bad blood predator who was killing unarmed people, such as a group of filmmakers and cameramen. He had become so deranged that he developed sadistic tendencies. He kept a bull and a jaguar in a state near death and mimicked their moaning cries. Devil's unhinged mental state made him one of the deadliest predators, and his sadistic tendencies only made him worse. We recommend you to read Predator: Concrete Jungle because it directly follows the events of the 1987 film and partly influenced Predator 2. Sister Midnight. In the year 2000, Dark Horse Comics and Top Cow Productions published a crossover comic series named Witchblade/Alien/Darkness/Predator Mindhunter. It was a series of crossover comics back in the day and was preceded by another crossover comic called Green Lantern vs. Aliens. The Darkness was a primal force representing evil and chaos in the universe. The Witchblade had powers of the mystical world. Both Darkness and Witchblade get trapped on a spaceship in Earth's orbit, one that happens to be housing dark aliens. A dark alien is a xenomorph whose host was a demon called Darkling. Sister Midnight forced her way into the spaceship to eliminate the dark aliens and save Earth from a xenomorph infestation. Unlike other female Yautjas who have no distinct feminine physiological attributes, Sister Midnight had pronounced breasts and definitely looked feminine. She was also one of the most colorful predators and donned a torn pinkish cape-like cloth. Another unique feature about her was the peculiar design of her biohelmet. Sister Midnight developed a strong attraction towards Witchblade and seemed to be protective over her. But this might only be because she wanted to be the one to kill Witchblade, and so eliminated everyone else who might potentially take that privilege away from her. Splitter. Splitter is the only young blood featured on this list of grotesque and freakish predators. The reason he made the cut is because of his unfathomable courage. His father, Hook, was a disgraced Yautja who would take Splitter and his brother Pig Iron on hunting rituals to other planets. The trio had recently captured a Xenomorph and were holding it on their mothership in order to complete the blooding ritual. However, when they saw a lost luxury ship, they went aboard it to kill the occupants. Due to Pig Iron's negligence, the Xenomorph escaped its cage and attacked Splitter. The young Yautja saw this as an opportunity to become a blooded hunter, but he was also trying to save his father, who had been knocked unconscious. Splitter fought valiantly, but was ultimately overpowered by the Xenomorph. The major contributing factor to his defeat and consequent death was his lack of weapons. Splitter had the same maroon skin as Hornhead and appeared on the cover of Alien vs. Predator: Thicker Than Blood. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.